They both glamorize each other, and attraction is based on appearance. If there is that difference where Halsey is just naturally a very affectionate person, but Evan just isn't, that's not the best difference to be attracting you, you know? There's a difference in priorities, and Halsey may fall into being Evan's parent. Interesting. Evan's lack of affection is frustrating for Halsey. Evan may feel trapped by Halsey. Yikes. Evan likes to initiate dangerous activities. Okay. Hi there, I'm Adeline, and it is so nice to meet you. Welcome to the 48th Celebrity Synastry chart reading, where we will be looking into Halsey and Evan Peters. For those new and returning, I take notes on a Synastry chart looking at the personal planet signs, aspects, and of birth times available house overlays. I also add my insights and interpretations along the way. Feel free to leave your own in the comments below. Before we get started, give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more Celebrity Synastry chart readings, and let's get into it. Starting off with the sun, we have Halsey's sun in Libra and Evan's sun in Aquarius. These are both air signs. They are good friends and they are both social and active. They share humanitarian interests and they see each other as an intellectual partner. Evan sees Halsey as superficial and Halsey wishes Evan was more affectionate. Evan's sun overlaid in Halsey's third house. It's a comfortable atmosphere and Evan thinks Halsey is brilliant. They enjoy talking about their days and Evan thinks Halsey is predictable. Halsey feels smarter around Evan and Evan sees Halsey as someone with good common sense. Their suns are Trine together, so there's mutual respect and they energize each other. They're supportive of each other and they are cooperative with each other. They accumulate wealth and luck and they can deal with conflict in a healthy way. Halsey's sun conjunct Evan's moon. It's a powerful connection and there's a blending of goals. Evan plays a supportive role and Halsey tends to lead the relationship, which kind of makes sense. Like, we've already seen he kind of seems to take the sort of backseat, like he thinks that Halsey is brilliant, and the whole element with Halsey feeling a bit more smarter around Evan. The initial attraction is felt by Evan. It's a great friendship and there's good communication. Halsey accepts Evan. They both just get each other and they do business together well, again with the whole blending of goals. Halsey supports Evan beliefs and they can go through issues together, which is, I like that this is repeated because we saw that they deal with conflict in a healthy way, so this is very nice. Halsey gets what makes Evan tick and Halsey admires Evan's intelligence. I'm glad this is reciprocated. That's very nice that they both see each other as smart. They understand each other at a basic level and they speak to each other with understanding. Halsey allows Evan to express himself. Halsey thinks she can think better around Evan. Halsey's sun opposite Evan's Mars. Sparks fly. Evan is defensive. I wonder about what. They both assert independence and they compete with each other. They both are annoyed with each other. I mean, the only thing I could see on Evan's end seeing Halsey as a bit more superficial, but otherwise I hope we'll see more. Halsey's sun square Evan's Neptune. Misunderstandings occur. There's delusions and deception. They both glamorize each other and attraction is based on appearance. I kind of find this funny because we saw that Evan is the one that's initially attracted, but he also sees Halsey as more superficial. Potentially it is one of those things where the thing you first love about someone is what you end up hating about them. I assume so far that is what would be on Evan's end. Evan promises more than gives. Again, the only thing I potentially see with this is Halsey wants him to be a bit more affectionate. Maybe he promises stuff like that but doesn't necessarily give it. Halsey believes Evan is a soulmate. Evan eventually disappoints Halsey. They both need to be clear about expectations. Yeah. Now for the intermission. This video is brought to you by me, my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. If you ever watch this and think, hey, I would like her to read my Synastry chart, well, I will. I do personalized Synastry readings on my Etsy store, both basic and detailed. The basic one is very simple to understand. It's not overwhelming at all. It's pretty good for those that are beginners to astrology, just getting the head around astrology, or just as a fun gift idea. The detailed one is just like what I do on my channel, just a lot of insight and interpretation on your chart. So if you are interested in that and everything else astrology and tarot related, readings and gifts, then definitely check out my Etsy store. Links are below. I'm always releasing new things, so definitely check it out if you're interested. You can even just favorite the store just to show your support for free. Thanks for listening and let's get back to the reading. Evan's sun opposite Halsey's moon. Strong and mutual attraction. Their differences attract them. I'm not really obsessed with this. Just with what we saw in the last aspect of Evan promising more than he gives, eventually disappointing Halsey, and them being both needing to be clear about expectations. I don't love it because I'm really not obsessed with it, particularly with the part where the whole affection thing, where potentially that was something Evan promised, but this is something that Halsey, you know, seems to desire and wants more of. If there is that difference where Halsey is just naturally a very affectionate person, but Evan just isn't, that's not the best difference to be attracting you, you know? Both are drawn to their relationships. I'm glad it's mutual. Evan may find Halsey too dependent, and Halsey may find Evan overbearing. Evan's sun square Halsey's Mercury. There's similar problem solving. They don't always see eye to eye. There's a lack of emotional satisfaction, and they challenge each other's perspectives. Contrast in temperament and life goals. Definitely the temperament bit. They find it difficult to discuss ideas. Both need to respect the other's differences. Halsey sees Evan as too self-centered, and Evan sees Halsey as too rational and emotionally detached. Interesting. Evan's sun opposite Halsey's Mars, so this is a repeated aspect, just inverted. So everything from before is further emphasized, but also Halsey is defensive. Evan's sun sextile Halsey's Pluto. There's a strong connection. They are more powerful together. I mean, we did see the whole blending of goals, so potentially, but I mean, I don't know where they would be powerful together, because I believe, because Evan's an actor and then Halsey's a musician, so I mean, they could find something. They comfortably share secrets and they are drawn to each other in a magnetic way. I'm not surprised, because besides Evan being physically attracted to Halsey, I don't know why else these two are drawn to each other, but I feel like an element to being attracted to someone's differences, there has to be that magnetic thing. So now it's time for moon. We have Halsey's moon in Cancer and then Evan's moon in Libra. These are both cardinal signs. They please each other. Confrontation is avoided, which I feel like kind of makes sense, because I mean, so far we haven't seen any argument things besides them being defensive of each other. So potentially if someone not necessarily confronts the other, but if they make a comment about something, then the other one would be just very defensive of that, rather than actually sitting down and talking through things. There's a difference in priorities, and Halsey may fall into being Evan's parent. Interesting. Evan's moon overlaid in Halsey's 11th house. Evan sees Halsey as the dream person. This is interesting. I feel like Evan just went into this relationship just, oh, she's really cool. Like, I mean, which fair enough. I don't blame him one bit, but it seems like as soon as he got into this relationship, he wanted out. Evan feels at ease around Halsey, and Halsey feels relaxed around Evan. Both feel they can be themselves. I mean, we did see they comfortably share secrets together, which is, you know, they're never really mad at each other. Fair enough. I feel like I'm getting the vibe that these two seem to be generally easygoing people. I just feel like their differences aren't helping. Halsey's moon trine Evan's Jupiter. There's good fortune and possibility of being too excessive. They're happy in each other's presence. Adventure is important in this relationship. Honest communication is easy. I wouldn't say it's very blunt though. Evan helps Halsey with her emotions. That's interesting. So now it's time for Mercury. We have Halsey's Mercury in Scorpio and Evan's Mercury in Aquarius. These are both fixed signs. Conflict between Evan's detachment and Halsey's attachment. I do see that. I feel like Halsey seems to be very attached, wanting a bit more like affection and everything, whereas Evan doesn't. I don't want to say he doesn't care, but he's just attached. Halsey can be impatient with Evan's excessive analysis, and neither are self-centered. I mean, I kind of see that. Neither of them seem self-centered to me, so. Evan's Mercury overlaid in Halsey's 3rd house. Evan is more chatty around Halsey. Halsey will enjoy conversations with Evan, and Evan enjoys long conversations with Halsey. So I'm glad they like talking to each other. Very nice. Their Mercury signs are squared together, so they have a contrasting approach to life, and they need to make an effort to be tolerant of each other. I so see these two. Difficult to work together. Interesting. Like, we did see the whole thing they potentially could, you know, make some great wealth together, I believe it was, but maybe not. I mean, I don't believe we have any, I mean, as far as I know, they don't have any massive projects with each other, so difficult to have a harmonious relationship. I see this in terms of being of like a very in sync relationship, if that makes sense. You know, it seems like they both generally like each other, but it seems like in this relationship there's just a lot of little differences that are just prevented from being smooth sailing, if that makes sense. Difference in opinions, and they have frustrating debates. Think the other is wrong. It's not funny, but like, both feel they cannot get along with the other. I mean, genuinely, like, especially on Evan's end, I feel like he gives me the impression that he went into this relationship, oh, like, Halsey's like very attractive and everything. But then as soon as he got into it, I don't feel like I can really get along with her though. Halsey's Mercury, sextile Evan's Neptune. They have easy communication and they share creative interests. I wonder, I mean, they do obviously have an interest in like creative things. They are captivated by each other and they both enjoy talking about art, dreams, and spirituality, and they just get each other. It's interesting we see this repeated because, like, on the whole, it doesn't, but I guess there would be little things about each other that they just really understand. Or they're more insightful to each other. I mean, we did see that Evan tends to have this excessive analysis that Halsey is irritated by. So now it's time for Venus. We have Halsey's Venus in Scorpio and Evan's Venus in Sagittarius. Evan's lack of affection is frustrating for Halsey. Evan may feel trapped by Halsey. Yikes. Halsey appreciates the fresh nature of Evan. Yikes. I wonder, which kind of is not the best, which goes back to them being attracted to each other's differences, doesn't it? Evan appreciates Halsey's depth and it's a stimulating but rocky relationship. I kind of see that. It doesn't seem to be ridiculously rocky, but it's definitely a bumpy track. Evan's Venus overlaid in Halsey's second house. Evan is focused on what he can get out of their relationship. Yeah, I don't like this. No. Halsey is careful to not get emotionally invested in Evan. It's interesting. I mean, we haven't had a lot of aspects to work off in this relationship, but when we were looking at Moon and like, I mean, so far anyway, we haven't seen anything great with their emotional life. The only thing we really have seen is there is that lack of emotional satisfaction. So Evan doesn't feel committed to Halsey. I mean, I'm not shocked. Neither of these two seem to be ridiculously committed to each other. Definitely not Evan. Halsey's Venus conjunct Evan's Pluto. Intensity constantly deepens. I mean, there's not much intensity to deepen though. Manipulation of the other can occur. I wonder where though. It's a karmic relationship and there's a strong pull to each other. I mean, it's definitely karmic in that way. Like, if they are both, like, very pulled to each other, there's this magnetic connection, but it turns out it's not really great. Like, it's magnetic for not the best purposes. Yeah. They have a deep emotional tie and Evan can read Halsey. It's funny, I feel like he potentially tends to be more psychological with Halsey because we saw the whole excessive analysis thing. And now we're seeing that he can read her very well. So now it's time for Mars. We have Halsey's Mars in Cancer and Evan's Mars in Aries. These are both cardinal signs. Evan is easily irritated with Halsey. I mean, we've been seeing that. Both have bursts of emotions, potentially why they can tend to have frustrating debates. It seems like they do like to discuss and talk to each other, but I feel like they potentially could just have those moments of frustration where they just blow up. Difficult communication. I'm not shocked. I mean, we have seen like that there is a bit more of like easy communication and honest communication, a couple notes of those, but I just feel like the differences get into the way of having it really smooth. Evan's Mars overlaid in Halsey's 5th house. Evan likes to initiate dangerous activities. Okay. Evan seeks admiration from Halsey, definitely initially. I wouldn't be surprised. Halsey is flustered around Evan, going back to there is that attraction between them. Evan finds Halsey childish and obnoxious. He doesn't seem to have the best viewpoint of her besides her looks. I mean, that kind of seems sad, but like, you know, we did see in the beginning he sees her as a bit more superficial, now childish and obnoxious. And the fact that potentially Halsey is irritated by Evan's analysis is maybe he keeps pointing out the sort of less flattering things of her, the more negative things of her. And there's possessive tendencies. I don't believe we have seen any possessiveness in this reading, so that's nice. So that was the final aspect overlay, bringing us to the end of the reading. I feel the need to like summarize this somehow because we haven't... I feel the need to summarize this reading because we haven't had a lot of great things to deal with in this reading. I mean, just in general, anything. Like, in the beginning, there was a lot of aspects of the sun, but then for the rest of the reading, there wasn't a lot to work with, which potentially is indicative it wasn't a very serious relationship. I feel like on both ends, they didn't seem to take each other too seriously. I think this is the first reading I remember anyway that there have been barely any possessive tendencies, only one though, which just leads me to like the lack of aspects to this relationship means there was a lack of genuine connection, if that makes sense. But everything else I feel like I've said in the reading. I don't need to repeat myself over and over, but if you are still watching, definitely comment what you think of this reading. If you've interpreted anything differently, share your thoughts below, and if you have made it this far, please consider subscribing for more. most of my videos are a lot longer than this and a lot more aspects to work with, so definitely subscribe. I post those readings weekly. And besides that, give this video a like and I will see you guys next time. Bye!